Yeah, this is it. Step off, man. Go for it. I tell you what, right now, you don't have to go to a doctor. You don't have to go to counseling. You don't have to get drugs. You don't have to buy a program. You don't have to put an app on your phone and buy. You don't have to blow ketones. You don't have to track or count anything. All you have to do is switch what you're eating to meat. And if you have mental health issues that you're hiding or that you're dealing with, you're sucking it up and you're just driving it through, or you feel like crap all the time and you're tired of feeling like crap and you want to be like you were back when you first started. This is my hot tub time machine for sure, 100%. I'm 57. I look like I'm in my mid 40s. I feel like I'm in my mid 30s and I feel athletic again. And this is your key. This is your way to get off meds. This is your way to take control. And it is super empowering when you take control of your health and you don't have to depend on a doctor. You don't have to depend on some counselor or their drugs or the VA. This is you taking control. And if you're that kind of person, go for it, man. Do it now. One more thing on this diet.
Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to talk with Larry Allhands today. Larry, for those who are not familiar with you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I've been carnivore since March 22nd of of this year. Sorry, so not quite a year. It's my first Christmas and holiday season as a carnivore. I'm 57 years old, a father of a 14-year-old son. I'm single. I'm divorced, so single guy. I live in Gerald, Texas, just north of Austin. And I retired from the Army National Guard in 2019 after 20 and a half years or 21 years of active and guard duty. I started my career actually in the Navy on submarines. So if you see the pictures, the pictures are actually blocked by the microphone. But if I move the microphone here, that's my submarine, and that's the North Pole in 1987 where we went. So I was on a fast attack submarine throughout the 80s. Got out, never planned to go back in the military. I went to college, started my career in technology. And then when the planes hit the buildings, I was in my mid 30s. I still had a lot of gas in the tank. So I jumped back in with Army National Guard because I already started my career. Didn't necessarily want to leave that on the table and just go full time. So I went National Guard, uh, and retired out as a signal officer, a chief warrant officer at division headquarters where I was the net ops chief, which network operations. I am a network engineer, Linux and Unix sysadmin by trade. And I also do wireless network architecture, which is what I do now full time from home. So I'm 100% home. And this is my service dog, Duke. I don't know if you can see him. This is my Great
Yeah.
Dane service dog. I
Awesome.
am a disabled vet, so I have a service dog, and I have some disabilities for my service there that are, carnivore is a great thing, but it doesn't reconnect tissue that's been taken away, right? So I mean,
Right. Right.
some things won't heal completely, but I tell you what, they sure do work better and they don't hurt as much. So anyway, that's me in a nutshell. And then I started the YouTube channel. I guess I'll go into this now. Might as well.
Hmm.
I didn't start the YouTube channel until August 7th because I felt that I was still learning. One, I was from March till August, and in August I felt I had a pretty good handle on it. Had some things to share, but the big thing was there was all these people already making content like yourself. Uh, and really good content sharing these stories. But I thought there was something missing in the veteran community because as a veteran, I know what it did for my mental health, uh, you know, my depression, my anxiety of being in crowds, that kind of stuff, how it fixed that. And then I also worked in law enforcement, which is, let's see, that picture right there is the San Mateo Police Department. I worked there for 5 years in between before I went back in the army. And so I also have a heart for the first responders. So my channel is focused on veterans and first responders who suffer with depression, anxiety, PTSD. And what I do is I focus on interviewing these veterans who have switched to carnivore diet, gotten all off all their meds, and cured all their issues, including PTSD and even Gulf War syndrome symptoms were cleared up. So pretty amazing stuff. Just
Wow.
getting off meds is huge. So that's my channel, Carnivore Soldier, and on YouTube, and the podcast is Mission Carnivore. And I have one other podcast which just focuses on non-veteran interviews, and that's the Carnivore Way.
That's awesome. So where did you first hear about the carnivore diet?
Well, that's funny because Okay, look what you where I was January, February, February of 2022 or 2023, I'm sorry, this year. And I was 280 pounds. Um, I couldn't run. And so this is big because I retired in 2019. In 2017, my injuries had piled up so much that I no longer could run. My ankle wouldn't let me run.
Mm.
So I stopped running. I got what's called a walking profile in the army, which means that when you do your PT test, you do a speed walk. Instead of running 2 miles, you speed walk 3 miles or three and a half, whatever it was. And it's still hard, but I couldn't run. And that was the point. In my last 2 years, maintaining my physical fitness was really hard. In fact, the last year I didn't even maintain standard. One, I knew I was retiring. The other was it was just way too hard. I did all the exercise. I'd been an athlete all my life. I'd been in shape. And once I hit 50, it got really difficult to maintain my physical fitness. And it was a losing battle. I slowly slid down as I continued to put the same or more effort in. And it was really frustrating. And once I got to the point where I couldn't run, I really felt like less of a soldier. I felt like less of a man. And the more weight I put on, the less of a man I felt like. I did. I felt like not like my strong presence I used to be, as an officer. I mean, I used to be commanding people and just like running with my troops, running and gunning, we call it, right?
Mhm.
And I know a lot of veterans feel the same way, where when you've lost it, and you know, I've heard quotes saying, if your memories of your past are greater than your vision for your future, then God has no use for you anymore because you're basically living in the past. There's no reason for you to be here. And
Mhm.
I think that's where I was headed or was already where I was just remembering how I used to be. And I really had no vision for the future. I thought my life was just sliding down and I was just slide down this gradual, hopefully gradual, worse and worse health, worse and worse shape until I died. And hopefully I'd be able to last, 20 years and not be too sick and not die of cancer early or something, and kind of end up where my dad is, where he's just got a lot of pain daily and he just can't do the things he used to do. I thought, well, that's my fate. That's where I'm going.
Mhm.
And then I'm also a Jeeper. So I was looking on YouTube to get some parts to put on my Jeep. And all of a sudden this Dante Fregno video popped up, Dante and his lion challenge of 120 something days. And here's Dante, some blue collar nobody. And I'm like, okay, well, but then I started watching it and I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing transformation. You could tell it was real. It was not professionally made.
Mhm.
You could tell it was not like some slick YouTube video, right? It's not
Right.
marketing. There's no money behind it. There's no product to buy.
Mhm.
So I was still skeptical though. When I saw it, I was like, well, yeah, but that was an old video. Let's see what it looks like now. And I looked in, I was like, holy cow, that is legit. I mean, this is years. He is
Mhm.
still on it and looking better. And I had tried every diet known, you know, known to Western civilization. I think I've done just calorie restriction. I've done the alternate day fasting, intermittent fasting, keto with intermittent fasting. I did all kinds of stuff and all of them failed. This is the first one that I did that didn't. So I saw that video. Then I went to Dr. Ken Berry because I saw him when I Googled carnivore. He popped up and I knew him from when I did keto. So when I was in the service active, when I was going to schools, I would do keto for a month or two before school to get in shape because I knew it worked. Because I would lose weight, I would get more energy, and my body would respond to exercise better. But I
Mhm.
didn't think keto was very sustainable because I would always fall back into my old traps. Of course, my keto was eating Quest bars. I still had a sweet tooth. I was drinking Diet Coke. My keto is about as dirty as you can get. It still worked. You still got some results,
Mhm.
but I didn't see it was something I could do daily for the rest of my life. I just didn't see that. So after that, I saw Dr. Berry had switched over. And when I saw he went carnivore, I was like, well, this is legit then. That's legitimacy because I trusted and respected him and knew knew his stuff about keto. If he's gone carnivore, then this must be real.
Okay, very cool. So basically, you started the carnivore diet because you had these struggles up and down yo-yo with your weight. And you've also previously mentioned that you started your YouTube channel to help bring out the benefits of the carnivore diet in terms of mental health. So did you see any improvements with that?
Yeah. So when I started carnivore, it was totally physical. It had nothing to do with mental. I didn't know there was any mental. I didn't know I had problems as much as I thought I was just living the normal life and everyone had what I had. Right. I mean, I knew I had some stuff as a veteran, but still, I didn't think it was bad. I wasn't on meds. I wasn't, going to. because the VA will if you go to the VA with mental health stuff, they're gonna put you on meds. I just didn't I was afraid of that because too many of my friends had nightstands full of pill bottles because they keep going to the VA and getting cascade prescriptions to cover symptoms, and then you got this whole I didn't wanna do that, so
Mhm.
I don't like drugs. So yeah, so I didn't know about the mental and to say a yo-yo, I mean, I yo-yoed when I was younger. When I retired, when I saw this diet, I was no longer yo-yoing. I was just, like, sliding. I was just going, you know? And, I got to the point where I couldn't really tie my shoes too well because I was too fat. It was hard. I'd lose my breath. I'd hold my breath on my shoes. It was terrible, man.
Yeah,
Because 'cause I've
I've
never
been
been
there.
like that. I've never been like that, you know? And I think fat people are lazy. I'm not lazy. Although, I can say I wasn't as motivated as I am on this diet. And that's something that changed too. So, yeah, what happened to me mentally was, and I didn't notice it at first, just like I didn't notice my allergy pills. My allergies stopped. You know, my allergies stopped completely. And I stopped taking pills. I just forgot to get my morning pill one day, and then after a week, I'm like, wait, I haven't had an allergy pill all week because I normally would have a pill every morning and blow my nose out for like 20 minutes every morning here in Austin. Allergies are terrible. Now I have like a lifetime supply of allergy pills in there because I bought them from Costco. They're like hundreds of pills. I take like one a month, so that's hundreds of months, right? Like a long. So anyway, but yeah, so just like allergies and some other things that changed, I didn't really notice it first. I didn't journal. I wish I had. I did not journal, and I didn't have this video channel yet. So what happened was I became less anxious. I wasn't stressing about stuff as much. Like things would happen and it'd be like, "Oh, okay, no big deal." I used to stress out a lot. I used to get angry. I wasn't as angry. Um, my depression. I used to get days like a day like today, where it's totally beautiful, sunny, crisp, clear air, and I just wake up and be depressed. I didn't know why. I thought, well, that's just normal. You know, commercials say everyone gets depression, right? And I
Mhm.
get it, and I know everyone else does. So I thought, well, that's just normal. But I'm telling you, it's not because once I got on this diet, I don't have those days at all anymore. I don't have the anxiety I had, the depression's gone. Um, being in crowds doesn't bother me as much. I still don't like huge crowds. That's why I live in Gerald, Texas, where we have no stoplights. But if I have to go to a crowd, I'm not as on alert or worried as much as I used to be. I'm just more relaxed. Yeah, and I think that the the weight, the mental health weight being lifted off my shoulders ended up being a greater relief than the physical weight, even though the physical weight was huge. And if everyone says, "Oh my gosh, your physical weight's huge," well, that's nothing compared to what happened in my mind. And also my motivation levels. Like I just get up in the morning. I used to have coffee and sit for a while and, you know, almost like I'm decompressing from my sleep or whatever. I don't know, but I just have to get ready for the day. Now I just pop up, I go feed the dog, and I start doing. I'm answering emails. I'm cleaning, doing dishes that are out, or I'm folding laundry. I'm just finding something to do, or I'm picking, you know, weeds in the yards in the morning, whatever. Checking my calendar, kind of stuff. So I'm very proactive now, and I was more passive, sitting on the couch drinking coffee. I don't even drink coffee anymore, so it's pretty amazing.
Wow, that's incredible. And like you said, the weight loss is great. I feel the exact same way. The weight loss is great. And I started for a whole different reason. And that was essentially a side effect for me. So the more
Right.
important was healing an autoimmune condition. But like you, I didn't even really know that depression or anxiety was that much of an issue with me until it was gone. And that's huge.
Yeah, and that's why I started the channel in August because I'd been carnivore long enough where I realized the effects, and I was like, man, this is like a game changer because up to this point we have no tools to fight soldier suicide or military veteran suicide, 22 a day, that kind of stuff. We don't have real tools to proactively help people because we don't know who's hurting, and you just don't. You can see someone look totally normal, think they're totally great. They're smiling, "Hey, how's it going?" Just like I used to when I wasn't feeling great and, smile, "I'm doing great," and then because one thing is like military people don't like to ask for help. That's just the way it is. And same with first responders. They just don't. We're the warrior class. We don't need help, right? And that's the way we feel. So we internalize a lot of stuff and just figure out we're going to suck it up and drive on because everyone else is. But then you get to that tipping point, and when you get to that tipping point, it's pretty radical and it's fast. And, I think our diet has a lot to do with why people are not. I mean, everyone gets to that stress level. Everyone does, and it's always been that way. But I think our diet has changed and moved the fulcrum over so it's easier to tip. Okay. It's easier to tip into a permanent solution for a temporary situation. And I think that's what I wanted to do is this is a real proactive tool. In the past, Memorial Day comes up or a day where someone lost someone, you post, send them a text, say, hey, if you need to talk to when I'm here, or you send them a post on Facebook in the veteran group, hey, give someone a call if you need to talk, and that's all you can do. And that is about as proactive we could be. Now I feel like I can share something that will actually correct their condition and let them deal with this. Where, I mean, if someone's a carnivore, I tell you what, if someone's a veteran or a first responder doing carnivore, I really would not be worrying about them in their life because I know how it's affected me and other people. Same with other veterans I've interviewed. Um, you know, it, I would not worry about them much. Other people I do worry about. I'm constantly, it's in the back of my mind. Who's next? The 22 a day is kind of like the boogeyman for us, and it's scary. And my son even keyed in on it. He's 14, so there's billboards here in Texas
Hmm.
that, um, get rid of your prescription drugs when they're done because they lead to suicide or whatever. It's like having them in your house can lead to suicide. It's a veteran thing. And my son goes, Dad, I don't know if I want to join the military. If I want to kill myself.
Wow.
Yeah, he said that based on I've never talked about it with him, but based on the billboards he's seen. I'm like, yeah, listen, when I was younger, even like before the early 2000s, I would have wanted him to follow my footsteps. But now with the military's changed so much, and that's all political stuff. But I don't want him getting in this military and what's going on now. And I'm glad he doesn't want to go in the military, which in the past I would have been the opposite. But also he's right. I mean, this is a real problem. When we're talking about 6,000 or 7,000 deaths a year of veterans, okay, suicide deaths. And these are ones that are documented as suicide. We're not talking about people that OD'd, that were actually self-medicating. Those are suicides, in my opinion, but they're not counted. And it doesn't count Texas and California. Those states have a different accounting system. They don't feed into that 22 a day, and they have
Mm.
veteran populations. So it's like 2 9/11s every year happening in our community. And it doesn't
Wow.
include first responders, and first responders are doing it. Listen, when I was at the police department, it was not uncommon a lot of times people separate from the service. They retire, they leave, and then they commit suicide because they self-isolate because they're part of a high-speed team, and they're a valued member, and then they go out and they have some communication, but, they don't quite click with the regular, civilian community because that's not the warrior class. We are, right? So that
Mhm.
so they self-isolate, they self-medicate, and it can get to a dark place, and it happens a lot, a lot. You don't have to retire, you can do 4 years and get out and still have the same thing. Because working in a civilian job is not the same as the military, it's just not, or law enforcement or firefighting. I think the difference is in a regular job, you don't really risk together as a group, and
Mhm.
you don't sacrifice together as a group. And in those other, in first responders and military, you do. You actually risk and you actually sacrifice. I mean, leaving your family, leaving what you love behind, doing things, putting yourself on the line, and you're doing it with guys next to you and girls next to you. And it's a huge deal. So I think that's the big difference. So this is the tool, though. This is the thing that makes all the difference in the world. And, you can look at the suicide rates for active duty. They didn't have the VA until I think after Korean War. The Veterans Administration didn't start till after later in the 50s, maybe. So they don't have like suicide rates of veterans back then, but they do have active duty suicide rates. So in World War II, I believe active duty suicide rates were 5 per 100,000. Not great, but not a huge number, right?
Mhm.
Then during the Vietnam War, it went up to 17 per 100,000. And now it's at
Mm.
23 to 24 per 100,000.
Wow.
And then not just because of war, because actually looking at the numbers, more active duty commit suicide that haven't deployed than have. So it's not just PTSD. You can't say, well, they're saying horrible things. And, it's not just that. And actually, if you think about seeing horrible things, first responders, I mean, ambulance drivers see more horrible things on a daily basis than
Right.
soldiers. soldiers don't see it every day.
Mhm.
We have friends that we see and stuff, so it's different. But it is you can't just say it's PTSD and it's not. I really believe because you look back at Vietnam, and this is something a nurse I know at the VA told me. She said that the World War II and Korean vets fared much better than the Vietnam and beyond veterans. They're doing much worse. Not like a little bit, much worse. I think, if you look back, Vietnam ended in 76, right? That was, or 73 to 76, something like that.
Mhm.
Um, and 73, I think. So then, the, uh, the diet was introduced right after that, right? The low fat, low cholesterol diet, uh, from the McGovern Commission, correct? And that
Right.
was in the late 70s because he was running for president, right? In 80, I think. So maybe 78 that was done. And
Mhm.
then the diet comes in and goes into full force in the 80s with low fat, low cholesterol, eat your Cheerios, eat your oatmeal, get your cholesterol lower, right? Get your fat lower and put sugar into everything we eat. Everything was low fat. So we all followed suit and said, okay, good, we'll do that, including the military and everything. And all these veterans came out and now they've got the stress, combat stress, whatever, it's same with law enforcement. And now they're adding to it a bad diet that's really clouding the brain, cognitive function. As Dr. Chafee talked about in the interview I did with him, it's like all these trillions of mitochondria and they're all firing off on I'm a signal officer, so I really appreciate timely and accurate signaling. And he said when these things start going slower, it starts changing your whole brain chemistry because it can't function at the speed they're supposed to function at, and because they're damaged mitochondria. And then your brain starts basically malfunctioning because it's not misfiring. It's like an engine with the timing off, right? It's misfiring.
Right.
And he said when you do that in your whole brain, and Chris Palmer wrote a book about this, which I just ordered. He's fantastic guy. He's a psychiatrist and he's treating people with this diet and curing or reversing schizophrenia, which is unheard of, and bipolar disorder, depression, all these things. So this is a real thing. And I just, sorry for wandering all over the place. I get all into this. I just think that this is the first tool I've ever had that can actually address this. So yeah, that diet was introduced in the late 70s, tipped the fulcrum, and all we see is suicides ramping up in the military. Now, I would guess that civilians have followed suit and have self-medicated and committed suicide in a rate that has increased as well, along with cancer, diabetes, all these things. Mental health is one of the issues I think that has escalated. Everyone, SSRIs and all this depression stuff, everyone's on kids being on all these drugs. I mean, I interviewed uh, a single mother, Darlene, last month. A kid on ADHD had ADHD and was on all kinds of drugs, including mood stabilizers. Got him completely off all that just through diet. It's just
Awesome.
diet should be the first thing you do. So this is
Yep.
what's great about, and this is great. This is what the ultimate thing for any veterans out there watching. You don't have to go to the doctor because veterans don't like to ask for help. You don't have to go. You can do it yourself. That's what's great. Do it yourself. That's the biggest thing that veterans want because we want to fix ourselves, right? We're fixers. We're warrior class. We want to be able to just go, you know what? I don't want to go to a doctor. I don't want to get therapy. I don't want meds. I just want to fix this. So guess what? Diet does that. You can do it yourself. You can experiment for 4 weeks. You've done it before. You can do anything for 4 weeks. I mean, you ate MREs out in the field for 4 weeks. You can definitely do this. And you just got to have a little bit of discipline and set a goal and set your why. And if your why is to change your life forever and be back to what you were like when you were young in the military, when you first started, this is the answer. This is 100% the answer.
I love that. That's awesome. So one thing I did want to ask you is so you've had these incredible benefits in terms of your mental health and all sorts of other things. So have loved ones or friends seen the improvement in you?
Yeah, in fact, my sister and her brother went carnivore. My brother went carnivore. My son saw the difference in me. He went carnivore. He's 14. My
Wow.
neighbor next door went carnivore, and he's a veteran too. He was on submarines, same era I was, which is completely insane that a guy moved in next to me that served in submarines in the 80s like I did against the Soviet Union. That's pretty crazy. That doesn't
Wow.
happen very often. And we're a small community. That's what I'm saying. So, um, anyway, he went carnivore, saw huge results. So that's another reason I started the channel because everyone around me was getting results, including some people I knew professionally, and they got back to me and said, "Oh, I'm doing great. I'm living the good life. I'm eating ribeyes. I've lost all this weight. My mind's better." And I shared it with people, and they're listing on people I've never met, and they're changing their lives. I'm like, man, we've already started a cascade, a domino effect. What could I do with a YouTube channel? That's what I was thinking. I was like, I've already got this message going. I've influenced people around me, so I know I can send a message that will influence, and I know this is the right thing to do.
Hmm.
And I had no desire to be a YouTuber. I mean, my YouTube channel had been around for 4 years, but it literally had like 5 videos on it. A couple family videos that I was sharing with my family as private videos, and it had some drone videos. So I'm a drone pilot. I wasn't like doing anything amazing with it. I was not like I I had never done a live stream. I like I said, I had 5 videos. I think I had 25 subscribers up until August 7th.
Right.
August 7th, I think my first video was Carnivore Boot Camp. Mhm.
Hmm.
And, that hit a little bit of nerve, and I thought, "Oh, well, I got a little more interested." So I started doing more, you know? Started cranking out 3 or 4 or 5 videos a week just to see what worked and learn my craft. And, yeah, that's just how it started.
I love that. Yeah. What I found is that people want to heal, and carnivore is definitely seems like it's providing the answers that people are looking for. And no matter what a person's content is, somebody's going to find value in that. And I appreciate that you're out there in that niche, helping the first responders and law enforcement and military and improving lives in that way. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's important to do, because we are a quiet community, we don't complain a lot either. Like, typically, military do suck it up and drive on, right? We don't ask for help, we don't complain a lot, so we get kind of forgotten a little bit, I think. We need advocates, and, I just knew that I connect with military guys and first responders, and I thought, "Well, you know what? This is something I need to do." So I just did it, and I've shared it with a lot, and, I'm an informed consent guy, so my opinion is all I gotta do is share it, and then you make your decision. I mean, I don't care if you wanna eat mayonnaise and eat Subway sandwiches or whatever, as long as you know what it's doing to you, then I'm good. Then go ahead, if that's your decision. Same with drugs. You want to do drugs? Great. Just know they're gonna kill you. I mean, it's no different. So, I went to visit my dad in July after I'd started, and I'd already lost 25 pounds, maybe 30. I'd lost 30 pounds. So I was down to 250 from 280. And, I was like, "Yeah, dad, this is an amazing diet." He didn't want to hear it. He's like, "I'm too old to change," and all this stuff. I'm like, "Okay." Well, if you say that, I guess you are. That's the first thing. If that's what you say, then you are, because that's your mindset.
Right.
And you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him think, right?
Hmm.
So I was like, well, I just said, if there's one thing you can do, you don't have to go carnivore. Just get rid of seed oils. Just get rid of seed oils. Just do that, and sugar. Just get rid of those 2 things.
Hmm.
And he's like, well, I don't know. And I was like, whatever. So I said, here's a Chris Palmer, or no, Dr. Kenobi. Is it Chris Kenobi or Ken Kenobi? I think it's Chris Kenobi, right? So
Yep.
I left him that video from Down Under, the Down Under series, where he's talking about the introduction of seed oils in our timeline and how cancer and sugar, and actually I call them the 4 horsemen of the diet apocalypse, right? The sugar, the trans fats, the seed oils, and the refined grains. I said, Dad, just watch this video. And then he wouldn't do it while I was there, because he's old school, he's stubborn. Just absolutely would not watch that video. I was like, "Hey, do you watch that video yet?" I wake up each morning, "Hey, you check that video?" "Nope." He's like, "Nope." "Okay, cool." And then he's in Alabama, I'm in Texas. So I get my son, we're driving back from Alabama after we visited, and he called me halfway home, and he goes, "So I watched that video."
Ah,
'Cause he's old school. That's the way he does it. You're not gonna do it while I'm there. And I'm like, "Yeah, what'd you think?" He goes, "That guy made some points." He goes, "Gotta watch that again." I was like, "There you go.
all right.
That's a good start." And he said, "But I'm still gonna have my mayonnaise." I said, "Dad, you know what? His Hellman's mayonnaise." Or like, "You know what? That's great, but at least now it's informed consent, because up to this point, you had no clue what was happening when you put that in your body, but now you know. So if you wanna eat your mayonnaise, eat on, man. That's good.
Right.
That's on you."
Yep.
I occasionally have alcoholic drinks. That's not carnivore, but when I go out with my veteran buddies, I have a cigar and a drink, that's on me. I have informed consent. I know what I'm doing, right?
Mhm.
I don't like sugars to my diet. I don't do artificial sweeteners, unless I make Dr. Kiltz's ice cream occasionally. I will put some stevia in there. I mean, my good. if that's my cheat, man, I'm doing great because compared to what I was doing, I'm 10,000% better than what I was on the standard American diet by doing this. And I eat almost exclusively red meat, occasional eggs. Like yesterday, I had eggs and bacon for breakfast. I don't usually, but I just don't like it. So the one thing about this diet is I think you need to learn how to listen to your hunger signals, and your hunger signals are broken on the standard American diet. So your hunger signals will normalize once you get over 100 days. Listen to your body, eat whenever you're hungry, and eat until satiated, and eat fatty meats or eggs or butter. Stay away from cheese. And if you just do that, you know, you're going to see amazing results in your body and your mind. It'll heal both. Like right now, I couldn't run from 2017 to 2019. I got out and I had not run. I thought the rest of my life I'm never going to run. That's what I thought. And I used to be an athlete. I played rugby. I ran track. I wrestled. I was pretty athletic. In the army, I ran a lot, hiked a lot, marched. We call it marching. You all call it hiking, but uh, you know, I did a lot um, physically, and I thought, well, this is it. I'm done doing physical stuff. I'm just going to sit on the couch and get fat, and just this is the way it is. Now I'm running sprints again, and it's amazing, man. It's
That's
I
awesome.
feel I feel totally athletic. Like I feel like I'm almost in college again. Like I know right now that if I went back, it would never let me because I'm retired. But if I went back in the army today, I would be a better soldier today than I was in 2017. 100%. I could do the job physically better, mentally better. I'm more motivated. And I would love to see my dream. I'm thinking I'm going to go to my old unit because I'm pretty close. My dream would be to have a full platoon of carnivores and see how they outperform everyone else in the company. Because you got a company, you got 4 platoons, right? And if we could get a platoon a soldier that will commit to do carnivore for a month or 2 and just see how their PT scores do and see how their abilities are and how much better, how much more motivated they are. It would blow people's minds if we could do that. So I'm planning to go back to the unit and, I'm gonna do it after the first of the year or maybe before the first year, probably next week, probably this week, actually. I'll probably run down there. I still know some people because, the junior officers are now majors and stuff, and they're XOs and stuff in these companies. So I can go up and or commanding officers. I can go up and maybe meet up with some of them and say, "Hey, give me your hard cases. Give me your soldiers that are failing miserably at PT. Give me your soldiers that are attitude issues. Just let me have them for an hour. I'm just going to introduce them to something. See if now they're going to have to make the decision, but I'm gonna go for that. And if I can turn soldiers around and gain the trust of the command in that capacity, then I could probably go out on their drill weekends and offer an early morning, like, seminar for anyone who wants to partake. Anyone that has PTSD, anyone has mental issues, anyone I can just say, "Hey, come on and check it out. Just check it out?" So
I
that's my
love it.
plan. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, what would that look like in terms of, in my mind, in the military, you kind of have three squares and it's a predetermined meal. Y- how would that work in terms of,
Oh, you mean when you're active? Yeah, yeah. So
right?
you could go to a chow hall and just eat meat. I mean,
Okay.
they've gone and they've done the whole, grading system on the food, and we call it a DFAC, chow hall's dining facility, DFAC. Go to the DFAC, and then your foods are all laid out, and I'll have like Salisbury steak, and I'll have like a red flag, and then it'll be like salad, green flag, right?
What?
And they'll have because that's better for you, right?
Right.
And then they'll have like uh, pumpkin pie, red flag, So they calling out like the fatty stuff, but if it's low fat, yogurt, green flag, right? Even though it's got lots of sugar in it. So so that's in the defect. So what you can do is just go get the red foods. Stay away from spaghetti. You could make a plate in a defect of just meat. You could just say, hey, give me the meat, give me bacon. At breakfast, you can always do eggs and bacon, no problem. Boom. Now they may use seed oils on the grill. Um, so you now in the military, they are sensitive to allergies. So you might be able I've never tried it, but you might be able to ask, "Hey, could you make me an omelet with no grease on the grill or with butter? Because I'm
Mhm.
allergic to vegetable oils," right? And then they probably would. So if you do that, because you can get omelets and stuff, it's kinda like being in a Residence Inn or whatever, the hotel where they have where they have a chef, or it's not Residence Inn, it's the other one. But anyway, one of the hotels, they have like a little omelet chef. They kinda have that going sometimes. So you can get sausage, bacon, um, eggs. For breakfast, you can definitely do you could load up And when I was in, I don't know if it still is, but when I was in when I was young, great because you could take all you ask, get all you want as long as you ate all you, right? And that's the way it was. So you can go up for seconds and stuff. Um, and the National Guard, these soldiers that I'm going to be dealing with, they basically feed themselves. They get MREs, but no one really eats them because they're terrible. So they go out
Yeah,
at lunch and get food because MREs are awful.
they
And
are.
eh, on top of that, they are mostly vegetarian, vegan because they are 100% the food pyramid.
Mhm.
So I did a video on some MREs that you could eat in the field. You could do carnivore in the field or ketovore at least by stripping down several of the MREs, which I identified in my video for active duty. That's active duty soldiers have asked me, "Hey, I'm going to the field. What can I do?" The other things you can do is make pemmican or buy pemmican. You can buy carnivore bars, but you can also buy pemmican directly on the internet. That's cheaper. It's the same thing. It's tallow and beef chips. So you can buy pemmican and take that. In fact, in the War of 1812, the British Army fed their troops on pemmican, which is a Native American food. Right?
Mhm.
It doesn't require any refrigeration, so I'd recommend that. You can do a lot of different things. You could bring, I don't know, you can bring beef sticks or whatever you want, and you can eat a dirty carnivore in the field. So, but most of the army, like even if you were in on a active duty base, like when I was at Fort Gordon, you can go out and eat lunch. You don't have to eat in the DFAC. In fact, most people don't like to. If you're a student, you usually get a DFAC pass, so your meals are paid for. So a lot of students go there, but if you're active duty and part of the staff, usually go out and eat or bring your own lunch or something. So I don't think it's too hard to actually, get your own food. For instance, if you were Fort Hood over here, you could bring your lunch. Like I pack my son's lunches when he goes to school. I pack them carnivore. I'll put burger patties in there and dice them up into slices. You just eat them with like finger food,
Mhm.
and you just heat them in the microwave. And they're fully cooked burger patties, and I give him a cheese stick and, string cheese or whatever, and, some bacon in there maybe, and he just goes to town, man. Or, I just switch it up every now and then, but I have another video where I do lunch foods for kids that you can pack, but adults do it too, meatballs sometimes, whatever. So you can do it. It's not impossible.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good advice. I'm going to switch gears for a second and discuss your YouTube channel for just a minute. And you do something that's a little bit unorthodox, and you do movie reviews on your YouTube channel. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I love movies, and, I'm a big follower of movie reviewers out there, like Critical Drinker, and I love when they review movies. Now, I'm no professional movie reviewer, but I thought, "You know what? There's a lot of great documentaries out there that I watched when I went carnivore, and
Hmm.
actually when I was keto, and I wanted to review them from now that I'm carnivore, from a carnivore perspective. I think these documentaries are great because, 1, they're all free, they're available on Tubi and YouTube for free.
Hmm.
Another thing is you can share them, and what I do when I review them is I talk about, oh, there's Duke behind me, buddy. Come on. What I do is I talk about, what the content's like from a carnivore point of view, what's good, what's not, and, if this is good material to share with people, maybe that are curious or who are opposing you. Like, hey, if I'm doing this diet and I wanna educate my dad, I say, "Dad, check this video out, you'll understand why I'm doing it maybe better," right? And if they will, if they care about you, they probably will watch it. They're not long. And, I think, it's a good way to break the ice because you're not presenting yourself as the expert. It's not some YouTube person that they've never heard of. It's actually documentaries with doctors and, professionals that know this stuff really well, and it's well presented. And that's what I talk about. I talk about, production value, the messaging, and, basically, I mean, I've done everything from that chocolate diet, which is a great one, which shows kinda with the chocolate diet. I don't know if you watched it, but it's only an hour long. It's worth watching.
Hmm.
It shows how these guys were frustrated with, like, all these studies coming out, and they all contradict each other. Like, "Oh, eat a couple of grains, and you're gonna get this, and eat blueberries and get this, and eat strawberries and get this," and then and none of them are really working either. So these are all, these epidemiological studies, which are not science-based, right? They're basically from interviewing people. So it's like, "Well, let's make our own study, and we use all the rules that professionals in this industry do, and we're gonna make a study saying that eating chocolate will help you lose weight." So they did this. Yeah, it's really great. They did this whole fake study, but using people that were not aware that it was a fake study, like using real controls, and they got experts to help them set up the study just like they do for other, because there are people that that's their job.
Hmm.
And someone will come in and say, "Hey, I've got a new drug. I need you to help me make a study to show it'll work." And this guy will set them up. And that's, so they had these experts come in, set this study up where they handpick people for each group, the A and B group, and they handpick people that are going to succeed and put them in one group, and handpick people that aren't going to succeed based on where they're at in their diet, and you know, and they put in the other group, and they that way they can make it happen, right? So they get their it's really amazing. So they make this whole study, and at the end, what's awesome is they publish it, even though it's not real. It's just, well, it's, I guess it's as real as any of the other studies out there,
Right.
but even though they are not serious about it, they publish it, and the media takes off with it, and it hits American mainstream media in the news. Eat chocolate when you're dieting. Eat, and it hits like Fit Magazine, like big industry picks up on it, and that's, so it's all a hoax. The movie's about a hoax that went real, and it exposes how fake these epidemiological studies are. Like this cholesterol or this eating red meat will give you diabetes study. It's like ridiculous. Eating red meat with bread, fries, and a Coke will give you diabetes, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
And but they don't add that in because they don't have. And so that's one video I really recommend people watch, just to get an understanding of how epidemiological studies work. But then I have a bunch like the Magic Pill, which is fantastic. The Fat Fiction, Fat documentary, and then this last week I actually did an entertainment movie, not a documentary. All those are documentaries, and I did Castaway,
Hmm.
which starring Tom Hanks, which is a pure carnivore movie where the guy is living the standard American diet. He's 50 pounds overweight. He crashes on the island and eats fish and coconut water, and not the kind you buy from a store, real coconut water, no additives, and drinks rainwater. And that's all he eats for 4 years, and he loses 50 some odd pounds. And in real life, he did the same thing. He ate the standard American diet to get heavy for the beginning of the role, just ate whatever he wanted as much as he wanted. And then and then the second half of the movie, he took a break and he ate primarily foods he could only find on the island there. So he ate fish, drank water. He said he had a couple other things, but he wasn't strictly dieting. He was just trying to get ready for the role. But
Hmm.
primarily, he ate what would be found there. So he ate some crab, some fish. So it was carnivore. He went carnivore, didn't know, or at least went low carb. He went keto for sure, and lost that 50 pounds. And if you look at the difference between him before and after, it looks like I did. I mean, that's, you look athletic afterwards. You look like you're putting muscle on. So that's a true carnivore movie. So yeah, I like doing those. Those are fun. I'll continue doing them as I see new shows come out. And I'm really looking forward to Carrie from Homestead House movie, Healing Humanity, and getting a review on that. And I'm going to include an interview with him on that review for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. Go easy on us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. So we'll switch gears yet again. And let's say, for instance, there's veterans that's watching this or active duty first responders. And a lot of these folks are budget minded, right? They have a certain amount of money. And what do you say to them if they push back and say, well, I can't do the carnivore diet because I can't afford it?
Yeah. Usually people are their reference is out of whack because they're looking at what the standard American diet is. If they were to add this beef to it, it would be really expensive, right? And beef does cost more money per, I guess, per ounce or whatever. I don't know, but it's what it is the nutrient value is so dense. I did a video on carnivore for $40 a week, and it was shopping at Walmart. Not the best quality meat, but if you actually watch Dr. Baker, he just did a video, I think yesterday or the day before, talking about, there's no studies that show that grass-fed beef makes any significant difference in your results in the carnivore diet. So I
Mhm.
agree with that because I don't eat grass-fed beef, and my results have been amazing. I don't disagree that it's not better for you or better for the environment. Maybe it is, but other people don't. People don't really know that cows are pretty much grass-fed anyway. They're
Mhm.
corn finished or grain finished, and that's the
Right.
last month or so. I mean, that's how you put the fat on them. So they are getting grass-fed throughout their life, for the most part. Anyway, the thing is, you can do it cheap. So my video, $40 a week, people are eating only 16 or 1,700 calories, but you can increase that by adding butter or adding more meat. And you can go to $50 a week. I mean, you don't have to do $40 a week, right? I'm just saying you
Right.
could. And the average person could live off 16, 1,700 calories a day of meat and fats really easily. And the reason I use calories, people don't like it because, well, we don't use calories, we don't count calories. I put it in the video because that's what people coming into this diet are referencing. That's what they're used to.
Hmm.
So, and I picked Walmart, and sure, Aldi has cheaper prices, great, no problem. But Aldi isn't everywhere. Walmart is. So in America, you can pretty much live anywhere and have a Walmart as a reference point nearby. So I picked Walmart, not because they have the best beef, just because they're ubiquitous. They're everywhere.
Hmm.
So I did a video on that, and I've had so many people, well, one come back and complain that I'm picking non-grass fed beef. I'm like, whatever. You do you, N
Yeah.
equals one. Great. I'm glad you're doing grass fed and you can afford it. I've had
Hmm.
so many more people come to me and say, I'm on a fixed income. I'm retired. I'm on social security, whatever. This is all I could afford. Thank you for doing this. I was intimidated, didn't think I could afford it, but now I think I can. And, I just want to give them a framework, a reference point, right? When we're doing land navigation in the Army, we shoot azimuths when and basically you find two landmarks and you'll shoot a compass azimuth here and a compass azimuth here and you bring it back together and it tells you exactly where you're at on the map, right? Based on where they're at. So you
Hmm.
can find your position exactly. So I'm trying to give them an azimuth point, like a point they can point at and say, okay, I can do this. This is possible because if one person can do it for $40 a week, then a family can do it, for $120 a week or whatever, with three people. Uh, that's much more doable.
Hmm.
So, for me, I've saved money. This is my first Christmas as a carnivore, and or I have extra money to buy Christmas gifts because I spend much less on food, much less, and I don't. And my garbage generation is nil. I mean, I put out one bag a week, maybe, and sometimes it's half full because I don't generate garbage like I used to. I don't have all this packaging, all this. I don't throw food away. It is super rare for me to throw stuff away. The only packaging I have is the packaging the meat comes in, and then I cook it and throw that away, and it's very small, a little bit of styrofoam, uh, really small. So, yeah, this way of, eating is a complete turnaround.
Yeah, absolutely. I like how you mentioned about the calories. What comes to mind for me, anyways, is what we've been taught how calories work. I don't think it's across the board. Fat calories and calories from protein seem to work much different than calories from carbs and sugar.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah. So, I'm also I don't count any calories, I don't count any macros. Have not since I've been on this diet, and that's one of the things that makes this sustainable to me. When I was doing keto, I was counting carbs, net carbs, I was trying to figure out all the formulas. I was doing ketone blowing to make sure I was in ketosis. I don't do any of that here because I know I'm in ketosis. So guess what? There's no way I couldn't be, right? Because I'm
Right.
just eating fat and meat and fatty meat, right? And
Hmm.
I think people when they get in this diet, one, they try to do all that. They try to help the diet. You don't need to help the diet. You need to heal your body. You don't need to you don't need to do OMAD or intermittent fasting when you start. Just eat whenever you're hungry when you start and eat as until you're satiated and eat fatty meat. Don't think, well, I'm going to help my body. I'm going to eat some chicken, some lean chicken, or that doesn't help. Trust me, you need more fat. And also, don't restrict your calories. Don't say I'm going to do. Don't count calories. Don't count any macros, and stay off the scale for a couple weeks. Do an initial weigh in, stay off the scale, and notice changes in your body because I think people focus on weight. That's the wrong focus. It'll happen. Focus on your belt size. Focus on, how you sleep, how you wake up in the morning, your attitude, your energy levels. Once you get past your carbohydrate addiction withdrawals, which people call keto flu, but it's actually withdrawals. Once you get past the withdrawals, it's pretty nice. And then you get this even energy level. And but don't do macros. Don't, I've had people like come at me like, wow, how much protein should I have? And I'm like, "Man, were you counting protein when you're eating pizza and donuts? Did you ever think about it or look at it when you had that burger and fries? Were you worried about protein?" Well, I guarantee you, don't worry about it now because what you're eating now is infinitely better. If you weren't counting macros back then in protein, don't do it now. If you were, okay, I get it. But I still wouldn't count protein because really it's all about the fat. And if you eat fatty meats, you're gonna get plenty of protein and high quality protein. I mean, high quality eggs, red meat, ruminant meats. That's what the target is.
Yeah, that's awesome. So As a retired U.S. Army Chief Warrant Officer, what message do you want to convey to other veterans and first responders about this carnivore diet and lifestyle?
Yeah, this is it. Step off, man, and go for it. I tell you what, right now, you don't have to go to a doctor. You don't have to go to counseling. You don't have to get drugs. You don't have to buy a program. You don't have to put an app on your phone and buy. You don't have to blow ketones. You don't have to track or count anything. All you have to do is switch what you're eating to meat. And what I did when I'm the kind of guy that I'm gonna do it 100%. I'm not gonna mess around. I'm not gonna ease my way into carnivore, right? Because that doesn't work for me, because I've been down that road. I'm a binger. I'm not a moderator. So if you're that way, what I did is I basically did like Cortez when he came to the New World. I burned my ships. Cortez had 600 soldiers. He conquered the Aztec nation with 600 soldiers after he burned his ships because there's no way to go back. They knew it. They knew they had to win the war and then build ships if they're going to go back or wait for another ship to come in. So I burned my ships. I emptied my cabinet. I did leave a little bit of there for my son because he was not carnivore. And I was not going to force him, but he's only here every other weekend. So I put it on the lowest shelf where I couldn't see it or reach it easily. I emptied all my pantry out except for his food, and I donated to the local food pantry. And then the seed oils I did not. I dumped them down because I know that's machine oil, and I didn't want to poison people. So I straight up poured that down the drain. All my seed oils.
Hmm.
And my seasonings, I donated that. I got rid of everything. So I ordered some. I actually bought it in the store. There, I ordered red mint salt. Ordered red mint salt the first time, and then I went to the store and just bought meat. I stocked up, and my fridge was empty. Man, I cleaned my fridge out and I cleaned it, and all I had was like water and meat and butter and eggs, and that was it. And I was like, man, this is too easy. And shopping was too easy, and shopping has continued to be too easy. If you like shopping at the grocery store and checking out at the 15 or fewer items every time, this is for you. Because I can tell you, it simplifies your life. If you like not worrying about what you're gonna have for dinner, what you're gonna have for lunch, what for next week, and just eat, it's for you. And if you have mental health issues that you're hiding or that you're dealing with, you're sucking it up and you're just driving it through, or you feel like crap all the time and you're tired of feeling like crap and you want to be like you were back when you first started. This is my hot tub time machine for sure, 100%. I'm 57. I look like I'm in my mid 40s. I feel like I'm in my mid 30s and I feel athletic again. And this is your key. This is your way to get off meds. This is your way to take control. And it is super empowering when you take control of your health and you don't have to depend on a doctor. You don't have to depend on some counselor or their drugs or the VA. This is you taking control. And if you're that kind of person, go for it, man. Do it now.
I love that, Larry. That's incredible. I could have not said that better myself. We alluded to this earlier in the video, but can you tell everyone where they can find you on the internet?
Yeah. I'm at Carnivore Soldier on YouTube, and I'm at Carnivore 6. And the reason we use a six is a commander. So, like, that's a call sign. Carnivore 6 on X or Twitter. On Facebook, I'm Carnivore Soldier. And I have a Facebook group called the Carnivore Diet Exchange. And for anyone in Texas, I'm doing an in person meetup January 13th, Saturday in Round Rock. You can go to the exchange, the Carnivore Diet Exchange on Facebook, or you can go to my YouTube channel, have it posted in the community. And or reach out to me directly. My email is carnivoresoldier@gmail.com. Any veterans or first responders out there that want to reach out to me directly, I recommend just email me, carnivoresoldier@gmail.com. If you want to get started, I'll help you out.
Awesome, man. I love that. You've got one of everything. So there's many ways to get a hold of you. And that's especially important for some if they're kind of at their wits' end with their mental health and things like that. And mentioning that, I really want to thank you for what you're doing uh, for not only the individuals that might need help, especially in the mental health space and help with their anxiety and depression. You're not just affecting those individuals, you're affecting families and friendships. And that's just a domino effect. And I really appreciate what you're doing. And it's very honorable and respectful. And we're healing humanity together with this message. And I appreciate you, Larry.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot, man. One more thing on this diet. It's just
Sure.
I can go on and on, but this is one of those life changing events, and there's very few of them in our life. No other diet has been a life-changing event for me, right? When I think about life-changing events, I think about having a son. I think about getting married, you know, I think about graduating from boot camp and you're a different person when you come out, when you go in or basic training. You're not the same person. These are life-changing events. Or, whatever police academy, same thing. They're life-changing. You come out and your identity changes. When your identity changes, that is a life-changing event. This diet is a life-changing event, and that's why there's this camaraderie between me and other carnivores. It's a brotherhood similar to the military, similar to being a father, right? If you've never been a father, you can't really understand it. You just can't. I mean, I can tell you all day about it. You can read about it. You can't understand it because you haven't been one, and you won't get the full experience you are. Same with carnivore. So I recommend changing your life, and this is one of those things that can do it. This is a real agent for change.
I cannot agree more with that. This has been probably one of the most profound life changing things that has ever happened to me. To go from 46 years old and feeling like you're just in a steady decline. This is just what you do. You get old, and I'm going to be in a cane and a walker in
Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, to now feeling like I literally feel like I'm in my 20s. And it's incredible. And even just talking to you, I would have never guessed that you're 57. I mean,
Oh, thanks, man.
your mental capacity and cognition and alertness is like you sound like you're in your teen.
I get that all the time. I'm a gamer, and I'll get on the headphones with my son because 'cause I'll game with him, and then his friends are on, and they all thought I was, like, in my 20s or 30s just because of the way I talk, I guess. And I'm like,
Right?
"Cool, man." Like, "No, I'm 57. I'm an old man. I'm almost a grandpa here."
I love that. Very
Well,
cool.
Maggie, from up in Canada. She's my hero. I love what Dr. Chapin did, exposing me to her. Um, and when I'm in my 80s, I wanna be jumping over fences and wrangling bulls like she does, man. I can be running sprints, I'm gonna be doing push-ups. Uh, I just hope my life is, like, steady and then boom, I'm dead, you
Yep.
know? I don't want the climb. I don't want that. I wanna be steady all the way. This is a finely tuned Ferrari here. I wanna keep it finely tuned and running at full capacity till the engine blows.
Yeah, for sure. After Carrie and I spent the week with her and watching her in action and running circles around us essentially
Mhm.
was like, yeah, I think that you're going to get your wish because especially if you keep eating this way, because it was absolutely incredible watching her in action at 82.
Yeah, that's my goal for sure, 100%. That's what I'm gonna do. So, yeah, thanks for this interview, man. I appreciate you spending time with me and some good questions you asked. And I appreciate you helping get that message out to veterans and first responders all over. So
Awesome. I
thanks.
love it. Thanks, Larry.